Hey everyone, welcome. Good morning. Good morning for those of you in Europe. Lovely to be here again. Welcome everyone. So we're just gonna give it a few moments for everyone who can join us live to join us live. And for those of you watching the replay, welcome just as warmly. Nice, so awesome for you guys to be joining. Thank you so much for taking this time on Wednesday to be here. We have a really awesome topic for today. We're going to talk about being single, but from a very different perspective. So the whole concept for today is, this idea that we consider being single somewhat a failure, despite the change of conditioning, huge change, we still have those thoughts. So that's what today's YouTube live is about. Okay, and for those of you who guys are live, if you just wanna send me a little message and let me know that you're here, your name, where you're from, like I'd love to see who's here. And again, thank you so much for joining. Okay, my love. So let's get to it. So let's start. Like I actually really want to just ask you this, and feel free to write your comments, like answer those questions in the comments. Like let's make it interactive as much as we can. So has that ever happened to you, that you stayed in a relationship way longer than you should because you were afraid to be single again? And has that happened that you ignored the red flags and that you allowed your partner to treat you not so well because you would rather be in a relationship that isn't so awesome than to be single, than to be alone? Has it also happened that like you kind of felt like, okay, we really should break up, but you still didn't because maybe you were afraid of like, I have to like face my friends and my family and explain why this relationship didn't work out again? So we have all of these different, stigmas around being single that make us stay in bad relationships. Either stay in those bad relationships longer than we should have, or be in a relationship that was great at the beginning, but it turned back. So we just bad. So we just sort of should have ended it when that happened, and yet we stayed. And also, this is what makes us run into relationships. Like we rush so much. We don't take enough time to check in with ourselves if that's really what I want. Like, is this the partner that I would really want to share my life with? Or is it that, oh, there is someone who wants me, so I'm gonna be in a relationship? So this is what we are talking about today. So first of all, welcome everyone. Welcome. So lovely here. My name is Magda K, and if this is your first time to my YouTube channel, then welcome even more. I hope you're going to enjoy what you'll see today. And if you're coming back, if you're someone who's been following me for a while, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Like your support, your trust, your interest in the work that I do means so much to me. Like, doing what I do, I wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for you. So like, I'm so grateful. So, again, welcome to this channel. And if you guys are not yet subscribed, please do so. I share tips and techniques to help you have the best intimate life, whether you are in a partnership or single. It's to help you build the most fulfilling love relationships, but also have great sex life and just more pleasure in your life. So I try to do these YouTube lives once a week. And I have some other videos coming here as well. So there's lots and lots of content for you. And again, please subscribe, share these videos, check whatever is already there on the YouTube channel, and see if you can find something that will benefit you. So my loves, the topic of today is, it's not a failure to be single. If you went through a breakup, this is not a failure. And the reason why I so wanted to talk about it is because so many people ended their relationship during the lockdown. So the last few months have been pretty harsh for us with, if you were in a relationship that wasn't strong, wasn't actually supportive, wasn't healthy, then like this lockdown was what separated you. It's like if this relationship was meant to end, it ended now. And I'm one of these people. My relationship ended. If you've been following me across different social media, you know it because I spoke about it many times. So many people are suddenly single. And then you have other people who were not in a partnership before the lockdown happened. And so now we are in the lockdown. In some countries, you still need to self quarantine a lot. And so now this being single becomes extended. And there's a lot of pressure around this because it's like people want to connect, people want to have sex, people want to cuddle. And it's more and more difficult these days. So it's so easy to fall into this idea that there's something wrong with me if I'm single, that, oh my God, I wish we could have stayed together. Maybe I should have stayed together with that person, even though they didn't treat me well, or even though I wasn't really happy, because it seems like I'm not going to meet anyone now that we're still in the lockdown. So, my love, I want to share with you today how to rock it when you're single, how to let go of the fear of being single, and how to totally redefine this. So basically, like, I want to start by telling you that if you are single, congratulations. Because whether you know it or not, this is a magical period. See, normally when we are in a relationship, we focus so much on the other person, and that's normal, right? It's normal. But we focus on the other person and we forget about the relationship with ourselves, right? It's like it's normal that when someone enters your life, you know, your focus, your time, your energy gets split. Now, it's not just about you, it's also about the other person. And by the way, this is absolutely beautiful and perfect. That is how relationships should work. But just understand that now, if you are single, if you're not in a relationship, you have all of this energy available for yourself, all of the time available for yourself, all of your love and affection available for yourself. So, this is the great time to invest in yourself, to grow and do the things that you desire, to really become the person, like the best person ever. And from that place, you then get to attract this beautiful dream relationship, like a better relationship. Especially if you were in a relationship that wasn't so good, if it was unhealthy or toxic, like being single, this is the time when you get to refine yourself to make sure that you don't repeat those patterns. Like if someone is in an unhealthy relationship and then they go straight into the next relationship, like they never enjoy being single, what they're actually doing is they're repeating the patterns. So that time of stepping away from dating and being with yourself and rebuilding the relationship with yourself is an absolute essential time for you to be able to change your patterns around relationships. People who jump into rebound relationships, they end up repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And then they wonder, why isn't anyone changing in my life? Well, that's why, because you don't take advantage of this beautiful time called being single. Now, I do want to say one thing. And this is probably something that I did look at. Like I looked at it this way myself as well. So we have this idea almost that like being single, it's like a transition period, that it's a means to an end, the end being the relationship. Now that's not the case. And that's not how I want to introduce this whole topic to you. I'm not talking about being single so that then you can attract the best relationship. Quite the opposite. And we'll go deeper into this topic that being single is amazing on its own. It's like the end already. Like you're not getting anywhere. You're already here, and it's about enjoying this. So what specifically we're going to cover today? Number one, we're going to talk about the stigma around being single. And breaking up, because like I said, this is what keeps us in bad relationships, and that's what makes us rush into the relationships that maybe we wouldn't actually want to be a part of. Number two, it's about rewriting the story of being single. So from being lonely, sometimes miserable, to the most exciting time of your life. Like this is the time to thrive. Number three, I want to share with you 5 areas that you should focus on when you're single. And I'll explain what these areas are and why. Then I'm going to talk to you about 4 things to avoid when you're single. Unfortunately, many people do them. It's just kind of our traditional societal way of coping with being single, but it's actually the total opposite of what you want to do. And the last thing, we're going to talk about how to have the best sex when you're not in partnership. And that also means even if you don't have any lovers. Like, my loves, I teach Tantra and sacred sexuality. Of course, we're going to talk about that. Mm. By the way, I'm just enjoying my morning tea. This is like my little ritual of having pure tea in my favorite mug. So when I'm doing these lives with you in the morning, you always see me with my tea. So let's get into this. So let's talk about the stigma of being single. See, the thing is that in the past, it was absolutely the case for women that if they were single, they kind of failed because you needed to have a husband to have money to survive, to have a house. Like, women didn't work in the past, right? So you needed to be in a relationship. And the thing is that despite so many changes, like, and moving forward and finding equality between genders, we still have that conditioning. Like, you have to understand, like, um, already I'm thinking like with my grandparents, still that generation, like my grandma, like, she didn't rework, that was still the case. So we're talking about a very short period of time when these changes have been actually implemented. But the conditioning, the memory, like the cellular memory, the genetical memory that especially a woman needs to be in a relationship, it's still there. It's still there. If you see a woman who's like 40 years old, or, oh my God, 50, and she's not in a relationship, she's not married, and she doesn't have kids, it's like people look at her differently. But even with men, even though we are biased in this case, like a man who's 50 and he's single, he's like eligible bachelor. Think George Clooney. But we still have this idea that, like, in a way, like when the relationship ends, it's like, oh, I failed, something didn't work out. It says something about me. And in general, this idea that if something ends equals that's a failure, it's just like the way that humans think. Because consider, this is also true when it comes to companies. Like, if you have a company that was like totally rocked it for many, 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 many years or generations, and then at some point they didn't. Like, what do you think? Oh, the company failed. They didn't make it. Like, think of companies like Kodak, Xerox, IBM. Like, people forget the fact that these companies were huge for multiple years. All we think about is like, well, they didn't make it on the market and they just kind of disappeared. So we have this tendency of focusing on a failure because if something ends, means it's a failure. And so we take it into the relationships as well. And I have to be honest with you guys, I'm so guilty of it myself. So again, if you've been following me, you guys know the story. But I was in a relationship, which, look, at the beginning was absolutely magical and beautiful. And there was a lot of good in that relationship. But after some time, like, the bad started coming up, and like a lot of really bad things. And truth is, I did already think of breaking up, like months before we actually did. And the reason why I didn't do that was because, number one, I was thinking, I will never find anything better than that. Like, this is the best I can get. I will never find better, right? So I was willing to, like, ignore the abuse and the toxicity of the relationship because I thought I'm not going to get better. Then there's also the fear that, what if I don't find anyone? Like, what if this is my only chance for a relationship, for a family? So once again, I was willing to accept the bad behavior. I was willing to ignore my own boundaries and my needs because I was so afraid to be single. On his end, actually, he did share that, like, when we did break up, he was like, I feel like a total idiot. How am I going to tell my family again that the relationship didn't work out? So that was his fear. But there was another fear that I had, which, for some of you may be relevant. I'm a freaking Tantra teacher. I'm an intimacy expert. I coach people on relationships. Like, by definition, I have to be in a relationship, right? Like, it needs to be on my CV. So I had so much shame around the fact that with the work that I do, here I have a relationship which is actually toxic, and I need to step out of it. And I'm afraid to do it because if I do it, everyone will see it. And that's going to say, like, something about me as the intimacy expert, as the intimacy coach. How can I coach people on relationships if my relationship ends? And I'll be honest with you, I actually was approached by another Tantra teacher who told me, like, Magda, I don't think you should be teaching these things. Because first, maybe you need to be in a relationship for like 5 or 10 years. And I was like, oh, so that was my fear. And then, I had a retreat for couples coming up, last season, which now is moved to May 2021. But it's a retreat for couples. And I was meant to lead that retreat with my partner. So can you imagine how I felt? Like, okay, here I am, miserable in this relationship, and I cannot end it because we have couples who trust us to lead that relationship. So the thing is that like even though I am aware of these things, in the moment I still like kind of fell victim to that mentality that it's better to be in a bad relationship than to be single. But quite frankly, like these should never be reasons to stay in a relationship. Like if you're unhappy or if the relationship is toxic, like you should really choose yourself. And so also my intention with this YouTube live is to help inspire you that it's not the end of the world if you're single. It's not. Oftentimes, it's like it's beautiful because you're choosing yourself. And of course, it was a very difficult breakup for me because we were planning kids and spending the rest of our lives together, and then boom, it just disappeared. And like it disappeared in a very, by the way, very painful way. Like what he did was actually very disrespectful. So I was going through a lot of things, and I was talking to my friends about it. And then one friend who's known me for many years, Natasha, this is you if you're watching, and she's known me for many years. She's also seen me build my business, and she was like, Magda, the way I know you, you're one of the most driven people I know. You're amazing. Congratulations that you broke up. Like she actually congratulated me on the ending of my relationship because she's known me for many years and she could see that that wasn't good for me, that it was killing my radiance. Like I was becoming smaller and smaller and like a shadow of myself to keep the relationship. And finally, I chose myself, and she congratulated me on that. And you know what? When she said that, I was like, fuck yeah. I chose myself despite the fear, despite all of the talk in my head. And so I want you to look at it, with yourself. Like if you are right now in a relationship that is bad, and you're so terrified of making this decision, or if your relationship has ended recently and you're still feeling the pain of breaking up, or if you've been single for many, many, many years and you're like wondering when am I gonna find someone, especially now with the freaking lockdown. Okay, so just notice that yes, there is this stigma about being single, and we all feel it, but just recognize that like you shouldn't be sacrificing yourself and your well-being because you're afraid of that shaming or because you feel that this judgment. Like this should never make you sacrifice yourself. And that takes me to the second thing I wanted to talk about. It's just rewriting that whole story. It's not about being miserable and feeling lonely if you're single. Like this is the time to thrive. So the thing is that a lot of time when we're single, we feel lonely. And of course, it's normal that we crave connection and we crave intimacy and we crave lovemaking. But you shouldn't be feeling lonely. So think about it. This is the time when you get to be your priority, not your partner, not your kids, not your job, nothing else, but you. How often do you get to do that? It's like, and this is true for both men and women in a different way a little bit. So women, we are extremely nurturing, and we have a tendency of taking from ourselves and giving to the people we love. So you know very well that when you're in a relationship, for all the women listening, you have the tendency of like taking from yourself and taking care of your partner. Like that's the nurturing, that's the motherly instinct that every woman has. But for men, once a man is in a relationship, not dating, but in a relationship, you guys, you're like making your woman happy is your priority. So whether you're a man or woman, once you're in a relationship, there's so much energy being put on your partner. So when you're single, you get to take all of this and offer it to yourself. So just as much as you pour into the relationship with someone else, now you get to pour into the most important relationship of your life, which is the relationship with yourself. And that's the relationship we forget about when we are in a romantic relationship with someone else. Now, my love, you are not broken, okay? You're not broken just because your relationship ended. You just need to be reminded of how amazing you are. And in fact, I would say that you're not single. You are in a relationship with yourself. You are a great partner. Now, look, yes, we all have work to do. There's definitely areas that you can improve, that you probably should look at. There's definitely something that you did in the past that probably wasn't so nice. So there's always space for improvement. But if you are not toxic, if you're not, crazy, shouting and hitting and abusing, then you are a great partner. And you just need to be reminded of that. And the best way to be reminded of that fact is to start being that amazing partner for yourself. All of the things that you are doing for your beloved, it's time to do them for yourself. The caring that you were showing, the nurturing, the love, give it to yourself. The attention, the listening, the holding, the support, emotional support, give it to yourself. The pep talk, being the cheerleader, believing in your beloved, give it to yourself. Now, by the way, I got a message from my friend Esther. And again, if you're listening, hi, love, and thank you for writing me this. So she actually sent me a message just before I went live saying that she would like us to change the vocabulary that we use. Like, why do we say the word single? You're not single. She's like, if we really go into the spiritual aspect of oneness, like we're always connected to the divine. So you're never single. Like you're never alone. You're never single. So if anything, you're just not in a romantic partnership with another human being, because you can be still in a romantic relationship with yourself or with the imaginary person, right? So that's all it is. But you're actually not single. And I really like that she said that she wrote it to me, because you're not actually single. You are in a relationship. You're in multiple relationships with yourself, with the divine, with God, with your family, with your friends. You're in a relationship with your body. You're in a relationship with your work. There's all of these relationships that you are in. Okay, so just because one type of relationship is not there doesn't mean that you're single. You're still in multiple relationships. And I think it's amazing, in fact, to focus on it from that perspective. Now, just imagine for a moment if we lived in time. By the way, sorry, a side note, I am going to use the word single for the rest of this YouTube channel, this video. But if you guys can come up with a better word, I'd love to hear this. So make sure to comment and give me your ideas. What could be the better word to say instead of single? Like, I like the idea that I'm available for romance, something like this. But if we can like nail one word or two words to describe it in a better way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Okay. But because I cannot think of anything right now, I'm going to use the word single. So imagine just for a moment living in a world that actually truly appreciated and celebrated being single. Now, the thing is, what I'm observing is that a lot of people, like, they attack relationships. They attack especially monogamy and marriage. And it's like, if you're in a relationship like this, it means you're brainwashed, you're needy, you're not independent, right? All of this. And so they kind of position being single in opposition to being in a committed relationship, as in like, if you're in a committed relationship, that means that you're not actually owning your power, but I am single, I am empowered. And it's not exactly how I look at this. Like this is not what I believe, and that's not what I mean by truly appreciating and celebrating being single. So for me, it's about really honoring the beauty of this time without trashing committed relationships. Because the thing is, like, everything in life is a trade-off. Everything. Like, if you believe that you can have something without paying a price for this, that means you're still stuck in the childlike mentality. But if you're an adult, you gotta let it go. Everything has a price. Everything. And so if you're in a relationship, you have all of the benefits of being in a relationship, but there is a trade-off. Like the thing is, you always have to be taking into consideration another person. No, you cannot do just what you want. There are certain things that you don't do, Like if you're, for example, in a relationship and you live together, You don't just not come back home for the night. You gotta inform your partner. So there is like some people say, like you lose freedom. It's not that. It's a choice. But yeah, there is a price that you pay. It's like price of admission. You pay for the price to go to the cinema, to go for the concert. Then you get to really enjoy it, but you had to buy a ticket. And it's the same here. There is a price to be in a relationship. And again, there is a price, there's a trade-off for being single, and there are benefits. So every situation, always, to every situation, there is an upside and a downside. Okay? Every situation always has both. If you're not seeing one of them, keep looking because it's there. So when we're single, right? Yes, the trade-off is that you're not in a partnership, and you might have multiple lovers, but there is a certain depth and intimacy we get to experience when we are in a committed relationship. You get to go deeper, you get to see parts of yourself, like the growth, the personal growth you experience when you're in a relationship. That's more than and nothing else speeds your process as an intimate relationship. So you're not getting this. That's your trade-off. But there are unique benefits to being single. And to me, honoring and appreciating being single is about seeing both of those in an objective, transparent, honest way. As in, like, yes, there are some things I'd love to have, and I'm not. I don't get to do them right now. And there are some unique things that I do get to do that maybe when I'm in a relationship, I won't be able to do anymore. Okay. So I mentioned this in one of my posts. If you guys came here from one of my social media posts, I mentioned this, that I see it's quite, we like going into extremes, right? So I do see on one hand people, like I mentioned, who's like, I'm so much better now that I'm single, like I'm never getting into the relationship again. And we become like these extremely independent, strong people. When I say strong, I don't mean empowered. I mean strong people, meaning I can do it all by myself. I don't need help. I don't need you. I don't need a man. I don't need a woman. And a lot of this talk comes from the fact that we got disappointed in a relationship before. Because look, relationships end because something is not working, right? Like if a relationship is great, it continues. So you probably were disappointed. You probably were betrayed. Maybe you were cheated on. Maybe you were lied to. Probably your needs were not taken into consideration. Maybe you were bullied. Maybe you were abused. Like these are the reasons why relationships end. And so there's anger, and the anger is that's the anger of the ego. How could you treat me like this? How could you do that to me? I don't deserve that. And so there's this anger, and underneath the anger there is the sadness and there's the pain, which this is where the healing happens when you go under anger. But a lot of people they don't know how to go into the pain, how to deal with this, how to really go through the healing, or they don't have support, or they don't have the tools. So they just stay at the level of anger. And anger is a great motivator to get us to do things. Like anger is your fire. Anger is your third chakra, which is the determination, action, focus, discipline. So when you're angry, you suddenly get to achieve a lot in life. But unfortunately, what you're not doing is you're not addressing the real reason why that relationship was so painful, why the relationship ended, and why you got into the relationship and stayed in the bad relationship in the first place. And so when you start becoming too much of like, I don't need anyone, I don't need a relationship, I can do it all on my own, that's actually a protective mechanism, just not to look at the pain. Because if you sit with the anger, and there's different tools for them, there are tools, there's guidance you can receive in this regards. But if you sit with your anger and you locate the anger in your body, and then just look under the anger, what's under the anger? And there is sadness. There is the feeling of being unworthy of love, of not deserving to be loved, of not deserving to be treated well. And so I just want you to recognize that if you're like this powerful man and woman who doesn't need anyone, you're actually right now hiding from intimacy. You're not allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And I wouldn't say that this is the best thing to do. Like try to find that strength in yourself to find that vulnerability, because what you're doing essentially is you're pushing away people. When you're so strong, like, people don't want to be necessarily around you because it's intimidating, it's pushy. It's like they feel like whether I'm in your life or not, it doesn't make a difference for you, so why would I be there? I made this post saying that we all have the need to be needed. And there was an interesting exchange with this one lady who said that, oh, you should, like, it's not actually healthy to be in a relationship because you're needed. And I challenge that, because we all have needs. Now, having needs and being codependent are two different things, but we all have needs. At the basic level, you need the oxygen, you need air, you need nutrition. Like, and also we actually need affection. It's been shown in multiple experiments that if an infant doesn't receive enough affection, it will die. Like, we need affection and love to survive. So if you give away that energy that, like, I'm fine by myself and I don't need you, then people don't want to be around you. And so what you're doing is that you are pushing away any possible partner. You could probably attract someone beautiful, but you're pushing it away with this idea that I can do it all on my own. Because, darling, the truth is, no, you can't. You cannot do it all on your own. You do need help. There are some things that you absolutely need help for. And there's nothing wrong about admitting that. Like, it doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're not capable. Like, it doesn't say anything bad about you. And I always like to say that if humans really didn't need other people, like, if we really didn't need other people, we wouldn't have billions of people on the planet. The universe would have designed Earth with one human, if that's all that you needed to live a good life. There's a reason why there's so many of us and why we keep bumping into each other, because we actually need it. Now, then there is the other extreme that I see in single people, and it's people who really don't want to be single, who really want to be in a relationship, and what they're focusing on is this price of being single. So the first extreme, it's like they're focusing on the benefits, totally ignoring that there is the trade-off, as in not being in a relationship, as in, like, I don't care about that. There are all of these benefits. And then you have these other people who are so focused on the trade-off, meaning I am not in a relationship, that they forget about the benefits of being single. And this is also not the most, harmonious and healthy attitude, because when you focus on what you don't have, you keep thinking like, that you're stuck in the scarcity mentality. Like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I have anyone? I will never find anyone. And what that does, that type of thinking, is that it steals your radiance and your joy. It actually drains you from your life force energy. And look, if you've ever been around people who complain or who are depressed, this is not easy. Like literally, we don't want to be around people like that, because it takes our energy, right? So if you're like this, you're pushing people away in a different way than the first case, but you're still pushing people away. Like, normally you're probably this joyous, happy person, because that's, like, we all have access to these emotions, these states. But if it's not the energy you're in, then how are you going to attract a beautiful partnership if the energy you project is the energy of desperation and being unhappy and feeling that it's unfair that you're single? So we're really going to find this balance, meaning I understand there is a price that I'm paying for being single. There are certain things I don't get to experience, and I may really want to experience them. And then there's those specific benefits, specific advantages of being single that I get to experience. So we stay aware of this, we're aware of the price, while we focus on doing the things that we get to do now. That's kind of, to me, how you really want to approach being single. And by the way, another thing I just wanted to point is that just coming back to this conversation of people saying that I don't want a partnership, I don't want a relationship, so there is no trade-off. Darling, again, this is not true. We are wired for connection. We always want connection. Now, you may not be ready at this moment for a committed relationship, but deep inside, you still have a desire for connection and partnership. Okay, it's sort of like, let's say I just had breakfast, so I'm not hungry. So in this moment, I don't need to eat, but still I have a need for food, right? So I still want food, even though in this specific moment, I may not want to eat. So the thing is that humans always want connection. We always want intimacy. We just may not want it in this specific moment. But if you tell me that no, you don't want a relationship and you're happy, again, you're protecting yourself from getting hurt again. So I would say be careful what you say, because if you keep saying you don't need a relationship, like you keep sending this message to yourself and to the universe. And the moment when you decide that you actually want the relationship, you're going to have a lot of work to do to go back on all the energy that you created. Okay, so just own it. Okay, yeah, I want a relationship. I do. And I'm totally rocking it as a single woman. You can have it both. Okay. So I want to share with you. There's two things that I did in the recent months that kind of help you work this balance and enjoy yourself, and thrive, but again, not in a way that you push away possible partnerships. So the first one is, I was going through this. It was an online training about attracting a soulmate, and what the lady said, I really loved it. She's like, well, especially if you're attracting, like, if what you want is this committed long-term relationship, which is what I want now. Like, I don't want affairs. I want to have a family. Like, I want to grow old with someone. So she's like, then understand that this is the last time you're single. The last time ever that you're single. And it really hit me, because I'm like, that is true. It is. It actually is. Like, the way I want to approach relationships now, and the way I look at men right now, is that I only want to, like, give myself into the relationship if I feel that it really can be the thing, right? That this can be, my life partner. I don't want to entertain someone who just doesn't match that, right? So I'm like, goodness, this is true. And so I have a few girlfriends, and we talk about lots of things. We're like our accountability partners, and one of the things is like, okay, listen, I just heard this thing, and I want us to do this exercise. And so both of us were like thinking, okay, so if this is the last time I am single, what would I do, right? And by the way, like, I think it's really awesome to do it with your friends. So, like, get your friends on board with this. If you have anyone who's also single and who wants to be in a relationship now, like, look at it. Okay, what are the things we get to enjoy now that this is the last time we're single? And I have to tell you, the funny thing is that from me, just to share with you my answers, my list, I realized that practically anything that I want to do in life, I want to still do when I'm in a relationship. And there's only one thing actually that came up for me. So, as you guys know, I'm Polish, and I'm in Poland right now. And I do not want to date a Polish man. It's just like, I don't resonate with my country so much. I always wanted to have a foreign partner, and always have. What does it? That means that my partner will not speak Polish. Like, I mean, I don't know what would have to happen for him to be able to speak Polish, right? So the only thing that I will not get to do when I'm finding the partnership is, I won't get to spend extended periods of time in Poland with my family, speak Polish with my friends and my family, and watch like Polish comedies, especially stand-up comedy. Like, I can do until a certain time. Let's say, like, I feel it's okay to be away from the partner up to a month, but more than that, no. So more than a month, he would have to be with me in Poland, which means I won't get to talk to my parents and my friends that easily, because I'll have to translate things. So I was like, oh my God, this is like the only thing really that I will not get to do. And then I'm looking at my life, because I've been in Poland since March, right? Staying with my family, with my parents, speaking Polish all the time. And I was like, Jesus, like, that's amazing. Like, instead of thinking that, gosh, I got stuck in Poland with my family, I'm like, no, 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 no. This is the universe giving me that experience, because that's the last chance ever I'll get to have it. So think about this. What are the things you get to enjoy now that you're single, possibly for the last time? A few other things, just to give you some ideas that I have. Like, one of the things I really love is being in silence in the morning. But when you live with someone, that's not always so easy. Now, it can still be doable, but it's a bit more difficult. Other kind of things would be that I like having my mornings to myself, and I also love morning sex and cuddles. So it's like, again, which one am I going to do? So again, a trade-off. And another thing is that I love sleeping in a big bed. And when I do it, it's like I roll around the mattress. It's just like I move, I sleep diagonally, I turn like my body in all directions. And when you share the bed with someone, you don't really get to do that. So there's like some other things that I also put on my list. But again, like I, for example, would like to have a relationship where we have, if we want to, we can also sleep in separate bedrooms so that we have a bit of own space when we need that. So then I get to move around my bed as much as I want. But these are just some ideas for you to look into this. Um, and another exercise, and I shared it in another YouTube live, is to make a list of 20 things that you enjoy doing that make you feel alive, and then go and do those things. So these are just two little techniques that I have done myself with my girlfriend to help us really enjoy time. Now that you're single, just to really, really enjoy it to the fullest. Okay. So now I want to share with you the 5 areas to focus on when you're single. And I really strongly stand behind this, and I'll explain to you why. So number 1 is your physical body. Actually, let me just give you all 5, and then we're going to go through them. So number 1 is your physical body. Number 2 is your hobbies and your skills. Number 3 is your social circle. Number 4 is your money and career. And number 5 is your spirituality. Now, why these specific 5 areas? The first thing is your body. So first of all, when we end a relationship, right, it hits our self-esteem. It does. It does. Even if you're the one who broke up, like it always has an impact on you. And so when you start taking care of yourself, and it's not that you have to lose weight or look your best, but when you just the simple act of taking care of your body, that makes you feel better about yourself. It's actually, it's and it's literally like that. Let's say I would put on like 3 kilos, right? So I'm not feeling good about my body. Now, all I need is to start doing something to lose weight, to feel better, to feel more attractive. Even if my weight hasn't moved yet, but because I'm doing something about it, like I'm showing up for myself. That is what makes me feel different, makes me feel better in my body, more attractive, makes me want to go out and dress up because look, I am taking care of my body. And it really changes your psyche. Super, super important. Another reason why is your physical body, your physicality is your foundation, right? If you have a weak physical body, it's really difficult to be going through the breakup or any challenges in life. Like, when your physical health goes down, like your immunity goes down, and so you're prone to infections, and especially right now, with the coronavirus, if you're someone who really worries about that, like really, really, really take care of your physical body, because you need it. Like, we need the physical strength to go through emotional healing. If you've ever done breath work or any trauma release practices, it's exhausting on your body, so you got to have that strength. And also, when you take care of your physical body, and this is especially in terms of moving and properly eating, then it kind of sets you for success. It's really the foundation. Like, once you have that in place, you feel like now you can get done anything else. So to give you an example, what does it mean? I want to share with you my practices. So first of all, I do work out. Now, they recently closed the gyms in Poland. So unfortunately, I'm not very motivated to work out at home, but I have like some kettlebells and some other things. So what I do is just like throughout the day, I'll take my kettlebells and we'll do 20 repetitions on my shoulders, like a few squats and a few abs, right? Just like to hit the main muscles. But if there is a gym, I go almost every day. And that's what I've been doing since the breakup. And it's been huge, huge support, right? So for me, working out, and in my case, I love weights. Cardio is super important. I'm horrible with cardio. I really hate cardio, which I shouldn't be saying, because then again, it's the message I get to my head. But I love weights. I don't love cardio. But ideally, you want to do both, because remember, especially when you're healing from the breakup, you're actually strengthening. So you're actually straining your heart muscle. Like, it's a muscle, and there's a reason why you feel pain in your chest, because it's. I don't want to get into details, and I also don't have. I'm not a scientist, but it's been shown that it is an actual condition of having a broken heart, and it's a physiological, physical condition. So you want to strengthen your heart while you're healing your heart. And remember, all of the energy centers, they're connected to physical glands and organs, right? So the stronger the organ, the stronger the energy center that's linked to it. So if you want to have a bigger capacity for love, you actually do want to strengthen your physical heart as well. So again, this is the moving of your body. And if you cannot do any of those things, or you really hate them, or you're not motivated, then at least go for walks. Like, try to walk a lot, like take stairs instead of the elevator. Add the activity in your life. The second for me, it's the diet, and I follow mostly keto and carnivore diet. And now, look, I'm not here to tell you how to eat. However, I will say that if you're vegan, or if you're eating raw food, this is a very light energy. And if you're dealing with deep emotions, you actually may need some grounding. Now, meat is amazing for grounding. If you don't want to eat meat, then consider root vegetables. And again, if you're someone who eats raw, maybe experiment with having some cooked meal, cooked food, because again, like, what we eat really impacts our energy. And we're talking about anchoring yourself and grounding yourself, right? If you feel that you're very emotional, that you feel kind of weak, then you gotta get heavier food into your body. And then another thing that I do is intermittent fast. I love it. I'm a huge supporter of that. So I usually eat between 10 and 5 p.m. So these are the things that I do. On top of this, fasting and dry fast are amazing. Different supplements, like I take magnesium, I take iodine. What else? I was taking some adaptogens as well. So there's different supplements to take as well. So make sure you get all of the minerals. Like, it's amazing. Like, if you lack some nutrients, if you lack some minerals or vitamins, you can literally develop a mental disease. You can become like bipolar. You can become like, you can have panic attacks. You can be overly stressed. You can be overly emotional. And really, what you need is a better diet. So really, really look into this. Okay. Then the second one I shared, it's hobbies and skills. Like I mentioned before, this is the best time to invest in yourself, right? So what are the things you've always wanted to do, but you kind of didn't have time before? Or what were the things you wanted to do, but your partner was not into that? So for me, some of those things are, I love diving and I love sharks. And I realized that I don't necessarily want to share this with my partner. As in, if he does it, it's awesome, but this is mine. Like, this is a part of who I am. And so, this would be a great place for me, to go diving, because I love it. I love it. And maybe it was a bit more difficult to organize this in the relationship because my partner wasn't as exciting about it as I was. I get to do it now. My dad sings. He has like a band, and they have a studio and they practice every week. So at the beginning of the breakup, I would go with my dad and I would sing, like actually in a studio. That was so much fun. I'm not a good singer. I like singing, so I got to do that. I went back to watching Italian movies and reading Italian books. I lived in Milan for almost 4 years. I'm fluent in Italian, but you got to practice this, and I just kind of forgot about it because, again, my partner didn't speak Italian, so there was no space to watch or read, because we would do other things together. So doing this, I did so many courses, online courses. I read so many books. Like, I've read so much about power. I've like inner power. I've done so many trainings around abundance. I did some trainings with coaching, like how to be a better coach. I really, really, really learned a lot of things. I got new skills. It's like this is the time to do it. Again, this is the time to invest in yourself. And this is when you build your own value. Like, think of yourself as a product. And I mean it in a positive way. But what are the incredible features that you have? Any skill that you learn makes you more attractive, makes you more interesting, makes you, higher class. That actually reminds me of a story. So my dear friend Ram, and again, Ram, if you're watching, hello. So Ram is my dear friend. We live together in the tantric community. Now we're in 2 different countries. And we do our bi-weekly calls, and he worked as a barista. So he learned how to make coffee. And I'm not I don't love coffee, but I like my coffee with milk, right? So I'm not someone who gets coffee at home because I would need like a proper coffee. Like I like coffee that you get when you go to a coffee place, like these beautiful mugs with the foam and all of this, right? Not black coffee from any machine that you have at home or the mocha machine. Um, and so we're having a call one day, and I see on his table at home that he has this beautiful cup with cappuccino. And I'm like, how did you get that done? And he's like, well, I trained as a barista within the last, like, I think 3 months, right? He just got this training. He was working as a barista, so he learned that. And he was like, I bought the equipment that you need to be able to make a proper coffee at home. And I even told him that, you know what? Like, this is the skill that I would like my partner to have. I would love for my partner to be able to make me a beautiful cappuccino in the morning. And we talked about this. We started talking about this, how there are certain things that you develop, like certain skills you develop that really do increase your value. One of the things I offer a lingam massage for men. This is part of my official services, but I learned it not to do it as part of my work. I learned it to be a better lover, like to be a better partner to my men. Because I felt like I want to know how to massage, and I want to know how to give a lingam massage, and I have this I'm really good with touch. I can give tons of different massages. I can walk on you. I can give you a walking massage. I can give you a sensual massage, a tantric massage, because I have the skill. So here you want to look at the hobbies and skills you want for yourself, but also, is there anything that I would like to learn that would actually add value to my relationship? That, like, having that skill would be really beneficial for the relationship. And again, I would love to hear this from you guys, because this is also something for me. So please, write in the comments, whether you guys are live or watching the replay, like, what are some of the skills you can think of that you would like to develop, but that would add to the quality of your relationship? Okay. So it would be really, really awesome to hear that. And by the way, speaking of skills, like, one of the things is I snowboard. And like, I realized that while I don't necessarily need my partner to be a diver and be as obsessed about sharks as I am, because I'm happy to do it on my own, I really want my partner to know how to ski or snowboard, or at least to learn that. The same with Tantra. I don't need my man to be tantric from the start, but I want him to be open to learn those skills. And I do want my man to know how to give a massage, a breast massage, like, totally. So, like, I also know what are some of the things I'd like to receive, and what are the things I would like to offer. One of the things that's actually quite funny, I was doing this reading with the Vedic astrologer, and he told me that I have a natural gift for cooking. Then he looks at me, says, like, I know you don't want to cook, but if you ever wanted to, you would be really good. And so, for example, this is one skill that I don't necessarily feel like I want to pick up, even though it probably would be helpful for the relationship, but maybe in the future I will, right? So, but for example, I used to be a bartender, so I know how to make cocktails. That's another skill that I have. So just really look at yourself, like, how can I become even better? How can I increase my value through different skills and hobbies? Because the things that you do that give you joy, that allow you to, like, experience life and learn new things, that's what increases your value. That's what makes you so magnetic and attractive to everyone around you. Now, the third area is your social circle. So one of the big reality checks for me after, when I became single recently was that I really forgot for a while there. I forgot the importance of the people I spend time with. You have to really deeply understand that being in your space is a freaking privilege. Okay? That means that no, you do not entertain just anyone. You do not. I remember that, like, it's something we are aware of, but we may not be intentional. But if you spend time with someone, it's because you get something from that person. And I don't mean it like money or material things. Like, even now, why are you listening to this video? Because you're getting certain value. And even if you don't get any value, even if you think that what I share is stupid, maybe you like looking at me. Maybe you think I'm pretty, and maybe it's just like visually pleasing. Or maybe you like my energy. Maybe, I don't know, something. right? Or maybe you're also like a relationship coach and you just want to check, how do I do things? Can you copy something? There's something you're getting from this interaction, and that's the only reason why you're sitting and watching this. And this is how we really need to be approaching our relationships, and especially intimate relationships, but that's like a different story. So you know the quote that you are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. So now, like never, is the time to upgrade and up level your social circle. My friend gave me this analogy. So when you're single, like being single and doing the work on yourself, what it is like, it's like, imagine you have like an apartment that you sublet, and then the contract ended, so people moved out. Now you get to refurnish the place, like make it prettier, make it nicer, so that the next person who comes, you get to charge them more. You get to have better tenants and make more money because you invested in the apartment, but you could only invest in this apartment when the previous tenants moved out. So your ex moved out. Now it's the time to get that even better, improve yourself in whatever way you can, right? Grow, invest in yourself so that the next relationship can be even better. So we do this by really having an honest look at, what are the people that I spend time with? Like, do these people bring things into my life? Do they add value? Like, do these people represent where I want to be in my life? Do they fit my future, my dream life, or do they fit my past? So many of us are in friendships just because we've been friends for many, many years, even though it doesn't serve you, right? We may be like someone you were 10 years ago, especially if you're like really serious about personal growth, and I'm assuming you are if you're here watching this, then who you were 10 years ago and who you are today, it's like 2 separate people. Just because you were aligned with someone 10 years ago doesn't mean you will be still aligned today. So have this honest look at the people that you spend time with. So one of the things that I looked at was like, so I started really looking at what is the life that I want to have. And I had to be honest with myself, saying that I would have never had that life had I stayed in my relationship, because we want different things. Like the things that I want, where I want to take my life wasn't where he wanted to take his life. We were not aligned in the vision. Like I always wanted to have really high quality of life. I love comfort. I wanted to have a beautiful home, like more like a villa style home. I want to travel. I want to spend a few months in Europe. I want to build my business. I want to speak in, internationally. These were always my ambitions and my dreams. And he didn't have the same dreams, which means I started doing this, like compromising on what I wanted from life to meet him. And what you have to remember is that when it comes to choosing your intimate partner, the quality of life you'll have is going to be the average of you and your partner in the middle. So if you, for example, love working out and your partner doesn't care, you will go down a little bit because you will be impacted. This is where you're going to meet. So you want to be very mindful of who you spend your time with. And by the way, practicing now as a single person, being very cautious about, or conscious, not cautious, conscious about your friends, this will build the muscle for you to also be very conscious when choosing your intimate partner. So one of the things that I did after my breakup is I looked at the people in my life that I have now, and the people that I would like to have in my life. And one of the things was I went to London. And by the way, I go to London every summer. And when they finally opened the borders, I was like, I'm out. I'm definitely going to UK. And I have this amazing friend, Leanne. And again, if you're watching, so much love to you, Leanne. So Leanne is literally, like, to me, one of the most incredible people I've met in my life. I adore her. She's so inspirational. And we haven't really met each other. Like, we haven't seen each other in a few years. And I just wrote her saying, hey, if you're in London, I'd love to meet. And I ended up actually spending a lot of time with her in the last few months. And it was amazing talking to her. She's a very successful entrepreneur. She just gets things done. She's this positive person, always smiling. And I wanted to be around her because I also wanted to become more like professional and more successful. So it's like, I want to be with her. I want to get inspired by her. Then another thing that I did, I went to Tuscany in Italy for a business mastermind with this DMSS, Digital Marketing Skillshare, which is the conference from Bali, and I speak there every year. And they had an event in Italy. I was like, I'm there. I was teaching as well, but I'm like, I'm there because I want to be surrounded by really incredible people. And so I got to do that, and I'm still very mindful now. Like I connected recently with a friend of mine from Bali, and it's someone, when I met him last year, I was really impressed by him, and now we did a few Skype calls because we just want to pick each other's brain and get inspired. And one of the amazing things that we said on this call was like, I feel like I could pay you for the conversation. Like literally, that's how much value I'm getting from that connection. And so then we kind of joke that this is how you know that the relationship, the friendship is really valuable, is when you feel that you would happily pay that person for the conversation that you just had. Now, the fourth area is money and career. The thing is that when you're not financially independent, you become dependent and needy on your partner. And it's just never a good place to be. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be making tons of money, especially for women. It doesn't mean that, but you want to know that you can take care of yourself. That idea that I can take care of myself. I don't need to be in a relationship because I don't have money. That's the point. And also, when your career is going well, especially if it's something that you love doing, it gives you such fulfillment in life, such fulfillment, so much joy. For me, my work meets all of my 6 core human needs. So Tony Robbins talks about it. It's certainty, uncertainty, growth, significance, love and connection, and I'm missing the last one, the 6th one. But in any case, I get all of my needs met through my work. It gives me so much validation and significance. I feel that what I do matters. I get so much love from my work because I receive beautiful messages from my client and I see how my work impacts them. I get my certainty because that's my work. That's my, my schedule of my days is designed around my work. It gives me money, but it's also uncertain because I work for myself. So you never know. And gosh, I grow so much in this field. Like I grow every single day. So your career and your money is you really stepping into your power. Like this is being empowered. And career can also mean doing projects. Like maybe you have 9-to-5 job that you don't really love, but you do something like separately. So for me, career is something that you have full responsibility over. Like you create something, it's your idea and you bring it into fruition. And ideally, you want this to be also giving you money. I mean, you guys know this, but when I go back to times when I started working for the first time and I had my own money, like, wow, that was wow. That feeling that I can take care of myself, really having enough money for yourself. It's the act of self-love. I know what kind of lifestyle I want and I want to be able to have it. So I'm working for that. And I also want to make sure that if something happens, I'm safe. That's what money is about. And then the last one is spirituality. And spirituality, like, this is about something bigger than you. It's about your connection to the divine, to God, to creation, the universe, whatever it is for you. But like I said at the beginning, you're not single. You're not alone. You are in a very strong, intimate relationship with divine. And this is the time to remember this. Because if you feel lonely, it means you're disconnected from the higher power. And that's what causes us so much pain. And you are not, my love. So this is the time to do meditation, to do personal growth projects, to find your way of prayer. Like start talking to the divine, start talking to your higher self, build that relationship. What if you looked at it differently? It's not that I am not in a relationship with this man or a woman anymore. No, this relationship ended, and now you entered a new relationship with the divine. Go all in. This will change your life completely when you have a very strong relationship with the divine. Okay, just so powerful. Hello everyone. Hey Charlie, Hi, Nasser. Hi, Dev. Lovely to see you guys here. Okay, so now let's talk about the 4 things to avoid doing when you're single. And number 1 is easy sex. Love, just because you're single, it doesn't mean that suddenly you have no standards. We have to understand, and like if I just said like go have a lot of sex, I would just go against everything that I teach. And the thing is that sex is a big deal. It's a bigger deal for women because of how the energy flows and because we receive a man inside of us, but it is also a big deal for men. There's such a huge energy exchange, such a huge energy exchange. And most of us don't feel energy, so we don't understand it. But it's a huge deal to be intimate with someone. So please, just because you're single doesn't mean that suddenly you go and just have sex with whoever you want because no, now I'm single, I can. No, my love, please honor yourself. Please don't take now being single as like, I don't care, like who I sleep with, I just want to have lots of sex. Please don't do it. No easy sex, okay? Keep your standards high. By the way, there's this practice called conscious celibacy, which means that you actually consciously do not engage in sexual interactions with other people because you want to connect deeper to yourself. And you do this because you want to make sure that you get to pick the right partner. Because once we start having sex, all the hormones change, you're not thinking clearly. Okay. So that's like a different story. But basically, like you don't move on by going into a rebound relationship. I know people do it, but just because it's something people do, it doesn't mean that it actually works. So please, please, please keep your standards high. Secondly, do not get even on your ex. And I know how freaking tempting that is. You guys have no idea. But here's the thing. They don't deserve it. Especially if they didn't treat you right, they don't deserve this. They don't deserve your time and your energy for you now to think how to get even with them. And the truth is, you're going to run into them. You will, my love. So just focus on thriving, on being the best person you can, because they will see it. They will see it and they will realize that I had something good and I let it go. So the best revenge always is to boss up, like get in great shape, take care of yourself. The things we said before, upgrade your social circle, connect to the divine, do like invest in your new skills and in hobbies. Just be that radiant you. The more radiant you are, the more they will feel that they lost something good. The more they will feel that. If you're like thinking, oh, what could I do to get even with them? Like if that engages your energy, it actually lowers your vibration and it cuts your radiance. You're not as radiant. Like if your ex ever runs into you while you're in that energy, they'll be happy that they're not with you anymore. The only true revenge is just taking care of yourself. Invest in yourself, become the best person you can be. And again, the universe has a funny way of bringing people together. Like I swear, guys, this is so crazy. There was this one relationship I was in, and the guy was like, he had some like anger issues. And when we broke up, and like we lived in a small community together, when we broke up, I did not run into him a single time. I only ran into him like a year after when I was ready to face him. And the same now, me and my former partner, we have not seen each other since March, and we're not going to see each other for at least 1 extra year. The universe is taking care of you. It's giving you space to move on, to invest in yourself. And if you ever are meant to see each other again, trust me, love, you want to meet them from the place of being fucking amazingly you. Seeing here, Jill, I follow you since 1 month. You give very good idea for happiness. Thank you so much and welcome here. Okay, so no getting revenges, okay? Focus on yourself. That's the best revenge. Another thing don't do is self-destruction. This hits people who are really struggling after the breakup, or who just like you're really down. You're kind of having these depressive states. And so we move into addiction. And that addiction can be different for different people, because we think addiction, it's like alcohol or drugs, things like this. That's a very obvious addiction, but eating is an addiction. This is, for example, my thing. I eat emotionally. And I remember there was one moment when I just kind of felt like, my appetite went up and I don't understand why. And I was eating more and more. And I was like, okay, I don't want to feel something. There's something and I don't want to feel. And so I'm eating my emotions. That's my addiction. So another addiction can be going out and being with friends. Another addiction can be talking to friends all the time. That's another one that I do. I would just continuously speak to my girlfriends instead of just shutting down, like shutting up and just going within and doing the healing. Reading books. Like my mom reads like 3 books a week. That's her addiction because she's not present to the reality. Meditation can be a form of addiction. Like, doing medicine work can be addiction because you're going somewhere else. Basically, addiction is when you cannot feel better without that. Okay? And by definition, any addiction is bad for you. This is why it's a self-destruction. Like, think about it. Like, meditation could be self-destructing. Yes, if you use meditation not to face something, if it's an addiction, if you're running away from other things through that. So you have to be very mindful, very, very observant. Observe yourself and your behaviors. What's your tendency? What do you do too much of? What do you invest unproportionally a lot of time and energy into? That is likely your addiction. And remember, any addiction means that you don't have control over the thing. And this is never good. This is disempowerment. And then the fourth thing not to do is numbing. So in a way, the self-destruction and addiction is a form of numbing. So that means that we do something so we don't have to feel the pain. When I talked about these like angry singles, as in like, I don't need anyone, that's numbing. You are suddenly so productive, so goal-oriented, so proactive in doing things, because that's your way of numbing yourself from feeling the pain. Okay? So what you want to do is connect to your inner child and listen to her or him. This is the only thing you need to do. Any way in which you ignore your inner child is numbing. Whether that's eating, watching Netflix, sleeping, going out, talking to yourself, daydreaming, all of these are our strategies to numb ourselves. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about is how to have the best sex life when you're single. So look, of course, this is the time when you get to have lovers, and if you don't want to commit, you can enjoy this and have lots and lots of sex. But this is also true if you have no partners. If you're like single, as in no lovers at the moment, it's just you. So a few things to do. Number one is explore new things. Like, again, this is the time to do something different. You know, when I talked about hobbies and skills, what are some of those new skills who are also relevant for your intimate life? So what would you like to learn? What would you like to experiment with? Like, go and get some new toys. If it's available for you, go for some parties. Like, explore these new things, learn new things. I mean, literally, like when we talk about sexuality, there's so much. There is so much, my love, that you can still learn and explore. That's the time to do it. The second thing is embodiment. It means do something that connects you to your body. Move. Now, the gym can be an embodiment practice. However, most of the time when we're in the gym, we're not present with our body. So the best thing to do embodiment is play some music and dance and close your eyes. And when you dance, touch your body. Like even now, like if I just sat here and I just touched myself and felt my touch, that's the embodiment, okay? So connecting to your body, and do it so often, because when you're in a partnership, you guys touch each other. So now that you don't have that, you want to be touching yourself. For women, breast massage, super, super important and beautiful to do a breast massage. And also for men, I would recommend actually a self-lingam massage or self-testicle massage. Self-pleasure, my love. Yes, masturbate, but not the way most of us do it. I'm not talking about turn on porn and come in 5 minutes. No. I'm talking about true self-pleasure practice, which means you forget about orgasm. It's not about that. It's about being present. So you start touching your body, touching your genitals, all of your erotic zones in your body, activating the energy and deeply breathing. Okay, so you breathe very deeply and you allow yourself to laugh, to cry, to move the energy. Like it's a Kundalini practice. The self pleasure that's done like this, it's a Kundalini practice because you're moving your Kundalini through the body. And you may have a full body orgasm. You may end up crying on the floor and releasing something. That's the self practice I'm talking about. And especially like go and explore tantric sexuality, tantric practices. Go and start doing breath work. Okay. So what you want to do is like expand your sexuality into the energy realm. And how to do it is it's basically, work with some teachers online. You can work with me, sign up for online courses. There are different online festivals. I'll be teaching at One World Tantra Festival at the end of November. So check out my social media for the links, or just write a comment if you want the link for this. So there are these different things that are happening that you can do to practice. And like I said, I do guide people through this as well. So if you would like me to guide you through these practices, the sexual practices, so you can really tap into this and open your sexuality, even if you're single, by all means, like let's talk and let's see how I could guide you through this. So if this is something that interests you, you can see the link in the description of this video to book a free consultation with me. And we just talk. It's a conversation. I want to get to know you, what's happening in your life, and we can see if we want to work together. And so then I can actually guide you through these tantric practices, and I can guide you online, because that's what I do with my clients now, to help you really open your body and embody different emotions. So if this is something you feel called to, absolutely, I'd love to do it. And my love, I do want to say that if you really feel like you need help, if you're single and you're struggling and you really want to tap into this beautiful essence of your body and thrive, if you feel that it's difficult for you to be single, if you feel like you really want to attract that relationship and you don't know how, then I'm here for you. If you feel safe with me, if you would like to work together, I'm here for you. So again, just check the link and book the free consultation. Share your story with me. Tell me what's happening, and let's see in what way I could help you. Currently I'm working with a lot of people. I'm coaching couples who are struggling with, the incredible proximity that they're in, that they don't have space apart. I'm coaching women who are going through sexual healing. I'm going through both. I'm working with both men and women who are really struggling being single in the lockdown. Like they lack intimacy. So I coach them through all of this. So if you would want us to look at these things together, let's just have a conversation and see what's possible and see how it goes. So my love, this is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here live and for watching the replay. For those of you who are watching the replay, I hope you got value. And again, my main message for this today is, things happen. Sometimes we're in relationships and sometimes we're not. And again, remember, there's a benefit and a trade-off to every situation in your life. Be mindful of the price that you're paying, but also just really focus on the benefits. So you can keep both of those together. And I just wanted to have a look at comments if there's any questions. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be seeing you here probably next week with more content. Thank you so much for connecting. Please subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. I share lots of content with you, and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Mwah!